This is the story of the baby that would not stop crying, and the worst part, there was no baby. I moved into apartment for B because it was cheap. Too cheap, but I was broke, newly single, and desperate to get out of my old place. The building was older than it looked. Long, narrow hallways, thin walls, the kind where you can hear someone sneeze 3 doors down. The landlord mentioned nothing unusual. No warnings, no rules. The first night, I heard a baby crying. Not the loud, angry kind. This was softer, exhausted, like it had been crying for hours already. It came from somewhere above me. I checked the time. 2:30 a.m. I sighed and shoved a pillow over my head. Great, I muttered. Crying baby upstairs. It went on for 20 minutes. Then, tirti, tinan uer, it never changed tone. Never paused, just steady, rhythmic sobbing. Eventually, I fell asleep from pure exhaustion. The next morning, I ran into my neighbor across the hall, an older woman named Mrs. Daly. Rough night? She asked. I forced a smile. You hear the baby upstairs too? Her smile faded. What baby? The one crying. Around 2? She stared at me a little too long, then shook her head. There's no baby upstairs. I laughed awkwardly. Sure there is. It cried for hours. Fosse is empty, she said flatly. I felt that small, cold shift in my stomach. Empty. Been empty for 6 months. I didn't like the way she said it, like she was choosing her words carefully. Night 2, 2:30 a.m. exactly. The crying started again. Same pitch, same rhythm. No variation. It was almost mechanical. That's what bothered me. Baber's gasp. Choke. Cry louder. Then quieter. This one stayed perfectly consistent. I turned on my ceiling light. The crying didn't change. I grabbed a broom and knocked against the ceiling. Hey! Can you? The crying stopped instantly. Complete silence. I froze. Then it started again. Louder. Directly above my bedroom. I didn't sleep. By the 3rd night, I was irritated, exhausted, and determined to prove I wasn't crazy. When the crying started at 2:30 again, I grabbed my phone and walked upstairs. The hallway light flickered faintly. Apartment for C stood at the end. Dark. No light under the door, but the crying was unmistakable now, right inside. Soft, continuous, desperate. I knocked. No response. I knocked harder. Nothing. The crying didn't stop. It didn't react. It didn't change. I pressed my ear to the door. The sound felt wrong, not like it was coming from inside the apartment. It sounded deeper, like it was coming from the walls themselves. My phone buzzed suddenly in my hand. I jumped. Unknown number, I answered without thinking. Silence. Then the crying came through the speaker. The exact same cry, perfectly synced with the one behind the door. I pulled the phone away slowly. The crying behind the door stopped. The crying in my phone continued. My blood ran cold. A whisper slipped through the speaker. Why won't you help me? I hung up immediately. The hallway went silent. No crying, no hum of lights. Nothing. I backed away slowly. The door to 4C creaked open a few inches. On its own, the apartment was pitch black. I couldn't see inside. But I felt it, like something was standing just beyond the doorway. Listening. Waiting. I turned and ran downstairs. The next morning, I confronted the landlord. There is something in 4C, I said. He didn't even pretend to be confused. Did you go up there? He asked quietly. Yes. He sighed. You should not have done that. My heart pounded. What is going on? He rubbed his face. 5 years ago, there was a tenant in 4C. Young mother, Single. Neighbors complained about a crying baby for weeks, and they found her one morning. She had left the stove on. My stomach dropped, and the baby, it looked at me. There was no baby. The words hit harder than they should have. No baby, I repeated. She told everyone she had won, bought clothes, crib, bottles, but there was never any record. No hospital, no paperwork. A cold understanding began forming. She said she could hear it crying, he continued, all the time. My throat felt tight, and after she passed, he didn't answer. He didn't need to. Night 4. 2:30 a.m. The crying started, but this time, it wasn't upstairs. It was in my living room. Soft, close. I stepped out of my bedroom slowly. The sound echoed from the corner near the old radiator. It sounded weaker now. Strained. Like it had been crying for days. Stop, I whispered. The crying faltered, then resumed. Quieter. Almost pleading. Why won't you help me? The voice didn't come from the air. It came from inside my head. I covered my ears. It didn't matter. The crying grew louder. Closer. Then, my front door handle began to shake. Slowly. Back and forth. Like someone testing it. The crying stopped. Total silence. Then a soft knock. 3 times. Evenly spaced. I walked to the door against my better judgment. Looked through the peephole. Nothing. Just an empty hallway. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number again. I didn't answer. The voicemail notification appeared instantly. I pressed play. At first, just static. Then, a baby crying. Right outside my door. I ripped the door open. The hallway was empty, but the crying was now behind me. Inside my apartment, I turned slowly. In the middle of my living room, the air shimmered like heat rising from pavement. The crying grew frantic, desperate, and then it stopped completely. The silence was worse, because in that silence, I heard breathing right behind me. Soft, slow, adult breathing. And a whisper close to my ear. There you are. I moved out the next day. Didn't pack everything. Didn't say goodbye. But here's the part that still haunts me. Everywhere I've lived since, no matter the city, no matter the building. At exactly 2:30 a.m. I hear it, soft at first faint, like it's far away. But every year, it hits closer. If you or someone you know is going through a tough time, please don't hesitate to reach out for help. There are resources available, like the National Crises and Suicide Lifeline, which you can call by dialing 988. You're not alone. If you ever hear a baby crying in the middle of the night, make sure there actually is one. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more.